divided by a half is 16. Why?
Because you're dividing each one in 8 1/2, and there's 8 times 2 is 16. And when you divide each 1 1/2, you get more pieces.
That's the best explanation I've heard so far. So that's the right idea. Albert? I like that. And I'm going to show a picture of it. What do you think, Albert? Why is 8 divided by a half equal to 16?
Well, 1 divided by 2 is 1/2, so you kind of multiply it by 8 by 2.
That's just kind of a rule, though.
Wait, so you're splitting each one in half, so then there's 16.
Okay. Hard to explain. Sophie?
Isn't that since it's less than 1, you're seeing how much a half goes into 8?
Yes, that's the best explanation. Okay, between Devin and Sophie, I think we have it. If I have 8 pieces, do you see my 8 pieces? Okay. Division means how many of one thing go into another. For example, if I had 8, if I have 8 stars, like this, right? Here are my 8 stars. If I wanted to do 8 divided by 4, then I'd say how many groups of 4 are in 8? 2, right? Okay. If I wanted to do 8 divided by 2, I'd say how many groups of 2 are in 8? So I'm saying how many 2s are in 8? You guys should all know that. How many? 4, right? So if I wanted to 8 divided by a half, I have to do what Sophie did. I have to think about how many halves are in 8. Here's a half. Here's a half. Each one of these is a half. If this is a whole, if this is one whole, then each one of those is a half. How many halves are in 8? 16. Do you see them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
So it's like fractions?
So it's, yeah, how many halves are in 8? So some of you guys learned rules. I don't want you using those algorithms tonight of flipping things upside down. We're not going to do that. You will get to use some algorithms, but that one we're going to stay away from for a while. Sarah, do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at some problems. What does this one mean? 8 divided by 16. Jackson. It's really hard to explain division.
Yes, actually, I got it.
Okay, what do you have?
So 8 is half 16.
8 is half of 16. So the question, maybe what you could think of.
You need two groups of 8
Perfect.
stars.
Perfect.
Okay, 16.
And you're saying how much of this 16 is in the 8?
Yes.
How much of the 16 stars is in the 8? Only half. That's a very hard problem. So thinking of it with a picture is hard, but remember there's a better way we learn. Fraction bars mean divide. So if it's something like that, you could always write a fraction bar. We practice that all the time. I would say, what's 8 divided by 16? And you guys by the end of last semester were saying 8/16, which is 1/2. Because fraction bars mean divide. So you could also do that strategy. Do picture sometimes. Sometimes a picture is helpful. Here the picture's not very helpful. But knowing fraction bars, that's more helpful. Okay? So let's look at this. 1/2 divided by 1/4. What do you think, Nelson? What does that mean? So it means how many? Perfect. Nicely done. How many fourths are in 1/2? So how many fourths are in a half, Nelson? There's 2. There's 2 1/4 and a half. So if you think about this circle here, and I break it into 4 parts, and look at this, that's a half. How many fourths are in that half? This one and that one. How many of this size piece are in the half? 2. So there's 2 of these in here. The fraction bar means divide doesn't help us on that one. So the picture is helpful. So Sophie, what does this mean?
But how many fourths go into 3/4?
How many fourths go into 3/4? So what do you think, Sophie?
3.
3, right? Here's 3/4 right here. And there's 1, 2, 3. That one's easier, right? Okay, Alex, what does this mean?
How many fourths go into 2?
How many fourths go into 2? So what do you think? Here's 2. If this is 2 holes here, how many fourths are in there? 8. All right, so you don't need fancy rules to understand fraction division. See the 8 pieces? Okay. No flipping things upside down, no memorizing crazy rules that don't make sense. Okay? Let's go a little farther. What's that one mean, Haley?
6.
How many 6 go into 2/3, right? How do you think you could solve that one with a picture? So sometimes, you guys, not always, sometimes drawing a model can be helpful. How would you do that? What would be your first step, Haley?
Split the square.
Sure, your first step could be split the square into thirds. Good idea. So I'm going to divide my shape into 3 parts. Okay. Owen, what do you think we could do next? We're trying to figure out how many 6ths are in 2/3. Here's a picture of thirds. What would be helpful to have in that picture?
So there's 2/3.
Right, so
1/6 is half.
perfect. So how about if we make 6ths? Okay? And then this is 2/3 right here, right?
Yeah.
How many 6ths are in 2/3, Owen?
4.
4.
So,
You guys get that?
yes.
I mean, almost every single person I've called on has answered a question correctly. There's 4 of them. This one, this one, this one, this one. There's 4 1/6 size slices in 2/3. Sometimes a picture could be helpful. Okay? So, Kata, what does this mean?
That means how many 6 go into 1/3?
No.
No. The other way around.
Yes, and that's a harder one. So sometimes the picture isn't as helpful, but it can work. This one's tricky. How many? Why is this harder? 1/3 go into 5/6. How would you start that, Jessica? I mean, Kata.
We would get 3 circles, or
Well, let's do you don't even have 3. You don't even have a hole, so you're going to start with taking a hole and breaking it into
breaking it into 6.
6. Good job. Breaking into 6, right? So this is where the picture's not so helpful, but it's a good brain challenge. So I have 6 here. But do you think you could do this, Jessica? You have your hand up.
5.
Yeah, I want to highlight 5/6 of them, right? So I'm interested in this 5/6, right?
4. That's 4 material.
Oh, thank you. I put the wrong number in, huh? Let's try that again. Better, okay. So here's 5/6. And I want to, what would have been a third of that? You know, Jessica? Yeah, 2/6. So here's 1/3. Here's another third. So how many thirds are in 5/6? 2.5. That's a weird problem. There's one, there's the other, and here's half of the third one. This is where the picture is not so helpful. Do you see that? Sometimes the picture is very helpful, sometimes it's not. That's why we don't always want to rely on pictures, and we do want to use some rules. Sophie?
I just have a question. Did we get a new book for the...
Nope, we didn't. Okay, sometimes the pictures or a model, they're not practical. So guess what? There's another way you could do this. All right? And I want you to think about something that I bet most of you have never seen. Nelson?
Do we have bits and pieces also?
Let's be rational. Okay? So I want you to look at this rule. So perk up and sit up and start like thinking. And I'm going to post the notes on the website today, so you guys can look at them. Asia. Right? Yeah. If you make common denominators, even though a lot of you were not taught to make common denominators for division, it makes things really logical. So let's go back here for a minute. Basically here, if we look at this as 4/6 divided by 1/6, how many 1/6 are in 4/6? 4. Once the denominator is the same, it's easier. You just do the top numbers and you make a division problem out of them. So down here, if I had made this 5/6 divided by 2/6, then the rule that might be new to a lot of you is if you can make the denominators the same, you just do 5 divided by 2 and use the rule fraction bars mean divide. So write 5 halves, which is 2.5. In other words, if you can make the denominators the same, you just make a fraction out of the numerators. What? Like Asia's saying, if I take this problem and I rewrite it by multiplying this by 6, I get 6/24 divided by 3/24. Isn't that the same?
Yeah.
So the shortcut is then to just take the top two numbers and make a fraction, 6 divided by 3 or 2. That's it. That's the whole difficulty of fraction division. What was the first step? Chloe. Right. So step 1,
Can we write this in a notebook?
I'm going to post them.
Okay.
You can cut them out and paste them in your notebook or copy them. So step 1 is find a common denominator. And I'll bring them up tomorrow if you want to put them in your notebook. And then step 2, you divide the numerators. Just make a fraction of the numerators. Divide the numerators. Works every time. So, common denominator here is going to be what, Jennifer? What number do both of these go into? Not factor, but not what's their common factor, but what's their least common multiple. Does 8 go into 4? Nope. A little higher. So list them out: 8, 16, 24, 4, 8, 12. What's the first common multiple? What about this one? 8. So that's the common denominator. So 5 eighths. What do I have to multiply 4 by to get that 8? 4 times what is 8? 4 times 4 times 2. So we have 6 eighths, right? So we're going to change this to 5 eighths divided by 6 eighths. So step 1, we've done. Karina, what's step 2? Divide the numerators. Fraction bars mean divide, so 5 divided by 6 is our answer. Sarah's making a what? Do you get that?
No, yeah, I do.
Let's try one more time. Step 1, Sophie, is get a common denominator. What's it going to be? 8 for this new problem.
Okay.
Well, we're going to do a new one to practice.
That's great.
So it's 3, so we have to multiply the top and bottom by 3, right?
Yeah.
So 2/3 divided by 27/3.
That
Step 1's done, right?
Yeah.
Step 2 is fraction bars mean, so just 2 by 27. What's your answer? It's so easy. Go back to the pictures.
It doesn't even seem right.
But it is right. Look it. Let's do this one, okay? Instead of 1/2 divided by 1/4, I could have done 2/4 divided by 1/4. What's 2 divided by 1? 2. It's all you need to do. Look at this one. What's the common denominator?
8.
8. So I have to multiply both of these by 8. So I get 16 eighths divided by 3 eighths. 16/3, which is 5 1/3. Boom. One more. If you have a mixed number, you got to make it improper. Oh, you can. What's 2 times 2? Add 1. So you have 5/2 divided by 3 eighths. Sophia, what's the common denominator? 8. Good job. So multiply both of these by 4. So that gives us 20 eighths divided by 3 eighths. Sophia, what do you do next? Right. Using a fraction, 20/3, which is 6 2/3. Boom. That's it.